Play General Manager for the first time this offseason. The Playing GM series is back. We always have a good time with that. These are iPad episodes. I got my iPad off to the right. Problem is, like, my Apple Pencil went to shit, so I can't draw like I typically do, but we will survive. Aram got up quickly. Are you getting your iPad too?
Yeah, I got an iPad now. Ooh,
Do you have a
tag's still
tag
on.
on?
Tag's still
Nice
on.
Northwest Arkansas Naturals crew
Hey,
neck.
they just rebranded and I wanted to support the cause. I can't believe I just exposed the tag.
You're the kid that you were the kid that left the sticker on the hat, weren't
That
you?
was swag, right? That was cool back in the day. No, so
Sure.
Northwest Arkansas's Naturals, they rebranded. That is the affiliate of who, Jack?
That is the double A for the Royals.
Double A for the
There you go.
Royals. Yeah.
I've got
Oh,
it
look
wrong.
at Peter.
Just
Yeah.
I
Look at
just
that.
said it.
No, that was really good.
Good job, Peter. I agree.
That was good auditory skills from Peter.
Yeah, really, really great listening, Peter. Tyler Mahle signed a 2-year, $22 million deal with the Rangers. We'll talk about that real quick, and then we're going to play GM for the Nats. Yay. The Blue Jays. Yay.
Yay.
And the Cardinals.
Yay.
I don't know how much we got to do. So we're going to do all that. I've also got something just about athletes in general that I found very funny. But before all that, Peter, we are brought to you by
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, ladies and gentlemen. Come on and sign up and deposit into your newly created account using promo code JustBaseball. Download the BetMGM Sports app on iOS or Android, or visit BetMGM.com. Place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if it loses. And if that bet does lose, your bonus bets will be available once the wager is settled. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older, and terms and conditions apply. It is funny, Jack, before you get into your athlete thing, that Arm and I kind of recorded this already, or at least half of it.
Yeah.
We did the national side and then sort of, but then Arm's internet wasn't working. Then we had to do free agents, and now we're doing the three of us and the three best teams in Major League Baseball: the Washington Nationals, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the St. Louis Cardinals. It's a good blend. I'm excited.
I think it's a great blend. Before all that, the one like non-baseball thing that relates to baseball and athletes in general, Brian Curtis, who does a great job hosting the press box on The Ringer. He's one of the editors at The Ringer. He quote tweeted a tweet from Kayvon Thibodeau. And Brian said, history was made yesterday with the first quote, "I'm not overcoming the doubters" tweet. Here's what Kayvon Thibodeau said. "Thanks for all the recognition, but I'm not a victim and a quote, prove people wrong narrative and quote, prove people wrong narratives are old. I'm playing good football and constantly getting better. Let's stop hanging on to old headlines." I love that because everybody needs to prove doubters wrong, right? Like every single athlete you've ever heard needs to prove doubters wrong. Kayvon Thibodeau was the number 2 recruit in America. He was Pac-12 all freshman. He was 2-time first team all Pac-12. He was a top 5 overall pick, and now he's going to be all pro. When is the last person of substance that doubted Kayvon Thibodeau? And I ask, like, there are so many guys that are like, oh, I gotta prove the haters wrong. I understand that everybody has haters, but like if they're TikTok commenters, are they haters? Like I understand that there are some people that have been told by people impactful in their life that they're not good enough at a certain stage, but someone like Kayvon Thibodeau, it's really hard for me to hear from a number 1 high school recruit in America that they have a bunch of doubters. I don't think you do.
Yeah, it's kind of like Bryce Harper coming out of high school or something like that. And he's
Yeah,
like,
nobody was telling him he couldn't make it.
Yeah, obviously there were people that were like jumping at the opportunity to say, "Oh, Bryce is going to be a bust," but that doesn't really mean like you prove the haters wrong. You just like prove the idiots wrong. Like, okay,
Yeah.
nice, good job. You know, it's like every time the world turns, it proves the flat earthers wrong. Like, okay, good job.
Right. That was kind of my takeaway, like a
Yeah.
Harper, right? Or in Alex Rodriguez. Who did Alex Rodriguez need to prove wrong? Did he have any doubter of consequence? And everybody's got doubters. I know that. And I know that the best athletes need to count to 10 if they were picked 10th, like Pat Mahomes. And he's, looking at the guys drafted in front of him saying, I'm better than you. But like we have to
Speak for yourself,
saying,
man. I said this Alex Rodriguez guy looks like someone who's going to follow the rules, and he proved me wrong.
I think kind of what it is that they develop this chip on their shoulder, whether it's warranted or not, and it helps them get an edge on the field. So what they'll do is they'll grab any source of hate, any source of a person just coming at them and then use it as fuel. I think that's what they kind of do it. So every little thing, they're like, all right, I'm putting it in the bank because they're just competitive freaks. And I like how you brought it up because while this is a football player, it extends to all sports and especially baseball.
Yeah, I think you put it but like everybody has a chip and the chip is always warranted. But somebody like that, I appreciate that he's admitting that like no coach has really ever told him that he can't make it. He was a physical specimen when he was 14 years old. So let's just acknowledge that he's playing really good football. That's what I got. Let's hope that Tyler Mahle can play good baseball for the Texas Rangers in 2024. This guy coming off of Tommy John surgery, um, signed a 2-year, $22 million deal to fill in with this stable of arms that the Rangers have and that guided them to a World Series championship. It is a relatively low risk contract at $11 million a year. It's like Joey Gallo signing 1 year for 11. Frankly, that's how I look at it. This is a nothing to lose contract for a team that has a lot of money.
Yeah. Tyler Mahle, I don't think is going to pitch in 2024. I think they're just stashing him on the 40-man roster and then he's going to pitch in 2025, or at least he's going to come back later in the season.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Arm.
I think so. I literally was Googling that as you were speaking. And the timeline, according to like MLB.com, was the hope, since he got Tommy John surgery in May, would be that he can return at some point in the mid or later summer of 2024. So I guess if you're the Texas Rangers, you feel like, all right, we feel like there's a good chance we can get him for the back end of the season, or at the very least, end of the season and the postseason. Whatever he gives us there is gravy. What we get from him in a full healthy season the next year is where we're really paying the majority of that 22 million. So I think if you looked at it like 5 million for the chance to get him to pitch at the end of the regular season and postseason, and then a 1 year, $17 million deal for the year after that, I mean, that's a good deal, right? The qualifying offer was $20 million this year. So if he returns in any capacity in 24, I think this is an unbelievable deal for them.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a guy who had a 3.75 ERA in 2021. Then during the 2022 trade deadline, gets traded from the Cincinnati Reds, where he was playing in Great American Small Park, over to the Minnesota Twins. We all remember that trade. Christian Encarnacion Strand, Spencer Steer, and Steve Hajar. I think that's how you say his name. Hadger, who they then flipped for Will Benson. So the Reds are playing checkers while the Reds are playing chess.
Yeah.
While the rest of the league, especially the Minnesota Twins, are unfortunately playing checkers. So the Reds got a very good deal out of this. The Rangers got a very good deal out of this. But we have to talk then about the Twins and how they got really the rough end of the stick.
Yeah, I mean, they got shafted. I don't think there's any way around that. But what I will say is Minnesota has done a good job allocating their resources to the right players. There are some blips in the radar. I think Christian Vasquez is a blip in the radar. Correa, I don't think you can look at as a blip yet, but Joey Gallo had a solid year for them. That was a good gamble to take. And here's the thing about those trades. So often we see the prospects not pan out. Sometimes it's the headliner that doesn't pan out, especially on the Hill. That's baseball now. And we have to be okay with that. You assume risk when you make a deal like that. And this was not a no risk situation by any stretch. And unfortunately, they just got hosed by the injury bug. If Tyler Mahle was healthy, who knows what he could have done? He could have been a 5 guy. He could have been a low 3s guy. We just don't know.
Yeah.
So we can't ding the Twins for not knowing that his elbow was going to blow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the one thing that you could ding them for maybe was picking the wrong guy to send out, Spencer Steer versus maybe somebody else. I don't know who was negotiated, who was on the table, but at the time Steer was, not really considered a high end prospect. And I imagine they might have been able to swap him out for somebody else. Steer ended up, being a good piece now for the Reds. But at the end of the day, you want your teams to go and try to make those kinds of moves. It just didn't kind of work out the way that the Twins were hoping.
And for the Rangers, the pitcher that they are getting is a pitcher that garnered that type of deal, right? At the time, now Spencer Steer, like Arm said, was not the tippity top prospect, but Christian Encarnacion Strand certainly was. big time power hitter. So that was the type of deal that it took to go get a Tyler Mahle. And now the Rangers are getting him for 2 years at $22 million, which is very, very cheap considering what other free agents are getting on the market. Like if Mahle can be that 4.40 ERA guy back in 2022, that is still well worth 2 years, $22 million. I was surprised that the contract value was this low for a guy with upside who could put up a 3.75 ERA. Yeah, I
But
know
you got to remember he's going to miss several months in year one. So this isn't
exactly
an 11 a year deal.
true, but even still, right? Let's say that he misses the entirety, right? $22 million for a guy who can throw 150 innings at a low 4s ERA.
Off of a blown elbow?
Might be near that. I know. I'm just looking at the market and seeing all these guys get massive deals, right? Luis Severino got a decent sized purse.
Yeah, I just got to say, like, we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much unknown about this. So who's
Yeah,
to say Mally's going to throw 180 off of Tommy John?
I'd pay 22 mil for the unknown.
To
Fair,
find out.
like yeah, and I think that's kind of what they're doing here, right? It's just if Severino's 1 year 13, off of the TJ or off of just a bad year, but you could say, banged up injuries, etc. And Mahle probably wasn't pitching as well as he could because of the injury kind of coming to a head at that point. I'd pay 22 mil to find out what Mahle can do in hopefully a year and change. If it's just 1 year, then it's a little tough. But again, I think they're betting on him being able to come back. And I think considering their financial restrictions to a degree, they've already spent so much, their RSN situation, they're one of the key teams that are affected. They have to kind of shoot for this upside type of approach. And I think this is, I mean, if you imagine what other pitcher that has the ceiling of Tyler Mahle are they going to be able to get for that amount of money? I don't know if there's anyone out there.
That's why I thought this was a great fit for the Rangers for everything Arm said.
Yes, I agree. And man, like, I don't think Dane Dunning is going to do 2023 again. So it's good to have another guy there, especially when DeGrom's going to be out the entire year. If he can come back and help them with the playoff push as a quote unquote fresh arm, I think that's massive.
What a casual doubting Dane Dunning. Are you kidding me?
I watched Dane Dunning for 2 seasons in Chicago. I'm not doubting him. I know that cat can spin it a little bit. I just don't know if he can spin it 2 years in a row.
3.70 ERA at 172 innings for Dane.
What was the lowercase x?
The lowercase x was a 4.48. We're getting a little bit deeper, but whatever. It is what it is. I just thought it was amazing.
Usually I'm the one that ignores the lowercase x, but you ignored the lowercase x.
I'm trying to be positive here. We're about to talk about the Washington Nationals. I'm trying to redo my brain here.
Listen, I don't think talking about the Washington Nationals is a negative thing by any stretch.
Okay.
What do you think, Aram?
Nah, we already did it a little bit, and then the internet cut out, and it was like,
yeah, Jack.
Do we need to do it again?
Would we have to do the Nationals twice? That's why I'm getting into my positive brain.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. How do you guys kind of want to go about this? Because I've got by position.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I was thinking. Like, we pretty much identify the players who are a key part of the core, because this is another year of the Washington Nationals either signing a vet or two that they can flip, and then also potentially trading guys that aren't part of their future. So presumably the debate we're going to have is around Lane Thomas, whether he's a part of the future or not. Then the debate we won't have, because they're obviously part of the future, is CJ Abrams, and Josiah Gray and a Mackenzie Gore. But do you trade a Joey Meneses? Do you trade some of these other guys? Maybe. Like, that's kind of the conversation here. And then I also think, what do you add that is a flippable piece for you? I think maybe one more starter. Since we recorded, we talked about a flippable reliever. They end up going and getting Dylan Floro. Mm-hmm. And I'll take care of the intro for you, Jack. They signed Nick Senzel. Okay, cool. We'll see if you can flip him. We'll see what Nick Senzel can do. I think he's going to be playing a lot more third base. And I think they could go get one more position player and maybe one more starting pitcher. But I think mostly the conversation around them is, what are the flippable assets, and what are the assets or the pieces that you want to either extend or hold on to, as the Nationals probably hope to compete in the next 2 years?
I think 2 years.
So we pretty much did the core, right? You're not doing anything with CJ Abrams. You're not doing anything with Mackenzie Gore. You're not doing anything with Josiah Gray. Those are your building.
And Keibert Ruiz, he ain't going nowhere.
And Keibert
Ruiz. And I really wanted to talk about Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia was pretty damn good last year. 23 years old, second baseman. And when I say pretty good, I'm being generous. But he was a positive player by F4, 0.1. But he is really young. And I did see
I'm
flashes.
sorry, you said pretty damn good, right? And then you rip off a 0.1
0.1 F4.
You have to understand where my brain is. I am being positive.
He does hit the ball hard. Okay, underlying metrics. Underlying metrics of Luis Garcia. 88% zone contact and a 104 mile per hour, 90th percentile.
What's
here's
the
what's gonna
chase
happen.
rate?
They're gonna give this guy 32%. they're gonna give this guy another year for sure. These underlying metrics are actually sweet. These are some of the best underlying metrics I've seen for a 0.1 F4 guy in a while. He's only 23. But jokes aside, like Garcia's gonna get run. Like he did have, and I think part of the reason why Peter said damn good is because the first half he actually was like, or at least there was a stretch where he was damn good, and then he hit a wall.
And then when everybody checked out is when he stunk.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the interesting thing. If Garcia struggles, they got Nasim Nunez in the Rule 5 draft, so that means he has to be on the 26-man roster. That is one of the best defensive shortstops in the minor leagues, point blank period. One of the fastest players in the bigs immediately. Switch hitter. I don't think he can hit much at all for power. He walks a lot. It's probably a bench, speedster type of profile, but it's another guy that they're going to be able to get some run, at second base, shortstop, when they want to give Abrams a day off. He doesn't need a day off. He's 23, but mostly at second base. He'd probably be the best defensive second baseman in the sport. So that'll be another guy that gets some run as well and have this bench roving role. I'd like to see the Nationals go get a DH, that like a bounce back DH. Rowdy Tellez ended up signing with the Pirates. Like that was a candidate, right? Someone that you could see bounce back and then flip. We were talking about it on the last episode before it cut out. Like the Pirates turned Rich Hill and G-Man Choi into Jackson Wolf, who's a 6'7" left-handed pitching prospect who, it's probably back end of the rotation stuff at the end of the day. But if you get 5 years of a 5-starter for those guys that you signed on a 1-year deal, like no brainer. So I think that's what they got to be looking at, right? Is who's a DH that isn't too good to sign with a team that's competitive, but isn't so bad that you can't flip him. And I think that's ultimately, and they got the one guy, and Nick Senzel kind of fits that mold, but he's not a DH. But I'm looking at the DH role right now because Jake Alou, I think, slides into DH. There's no way that they're going to roll into the season with Alou at DH as much as I like him.
No way.
No. I love his story. Jack saw him in Auburn. I know. He's like a 20-something round pick out of Villanova, or where I forget where he went.
Boston College.
But yeah, they got to go get a DH. I think that's the one spot. DH.
So like a Vogelbach? You think a Vogelbach makes sense?
Yeah. I think Vogelbach makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
Let's go even bigger. CJ Cron?
Ooh. I don't think CJ Cron's too good for this gig.
What about, is Garrett Cooper still out there?
He is.
He is. That is Garrett Cooper.
Is Carlos Santana too good?
No. No.
All right, Carlos Santana.
But he does this. He does this every year. He makes a living off of netting you the 75th best prospect in a system on a 1-year deal.
How about a gamble? Jared Walsh?
Ooh, I kind of like the upside there.
Right?
He's just dealt with so much. Let's see what he can do if he's healthy. And didn't he have like vertigo too and other stuff?
I think CJ Cron is our perfect answer with upside. And I don't know if contending teams are saying, yeah, you are our first baseman or you're our DH.
No. I think, and Cooper, I think, is a better version of Cron at this stage. So I think he is. I do. But I'm biased. He's had some nice stretches. Let's go CJ Cron. They signed CJ Cron. Congratulations, Washington Nationals. They got to go get a starter too, by the way.
Yeah, so Cron's going to DH. Meneses is going to play first. Note, Juan Yepes got non-tendered. They signed him to a minor league free agent deal. So I like Yepes as a bench bat for them.
True. Yeah.
I do think the middle infield is taken care of for 2024. No changes with Abrams at short, Garcia at second, and Nunez as the third middle infielder. Catcher's taken care of. I want to go to the outfield for a hot minute because I really have the question, how quickly is Dylan Cruz in DC? And can James Wood get there in 2024? Because I do view Lane Thomas as a guy that they can hold on to.
They should.
But Victor Robles, like, that needs to be over. That's so far gone at this point. Stone Garrett, I love, but if you can push Stone Garrett to a fourth outfielder role or a roving, like a rotation of 4, that would be great. Factor in Cruz by the All-Star break, let's say. A name that jumped to my mind was Harrison Bader. Is Bader too good for this?
Bader's too good for this, I think.
Are we sure?
No, but I think.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm not sure. I think he's a little bit too good for this. Doesn't he seem like a San Diego Padre now that Trent Grisham's gone?
I could see that. I actually do like that fit a lot. Here's my thing: is Robles. You're probably going to want to see what he can do. Just maybe you can flip him at the deadline.
You've seen what he can do for 4 years.
Oh no, I know. I don't think he
Jack,
can do shit.
Jack, it was always next year for Victor Robles. 2024 is his year.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Same with Carter Keyboom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. So I do think Robles. So the thing with Robles, I actually think he could be a fine fourth outfielder, right? He's a good defender. I know that the metrics have been up and down for him, but I think if he's healthy and he locks in, he's generally a good defender, a good runner. He's the fourth outfielder. If you're able to promise Bader an everyday role, assuming that the Padres are trying to aim higher, like then maybe, if I'm Bader, I'd rather take an everyday role with the Nationals to rebuild my stock on a 1 year than, hey, fourth outfielder or like platoon role with a competitive team. Bader's too young to go to that. I do think that he could get a starting opportunity elsewhere because he is better than that. But you never know. Sometimes things don't shake out that way. So I do think that could make sense. Demote Robles to a fourth outfielder role. I mean, they non-tendered him, right? And ended up just being able to bring him back. I didn't I see that they non-tendered him? I swore I
don't think they non-tendered Robles.
I think he's in the cloud. In Apple. I think he's like up there just being stored.
He's just
the one
floating.
that Jobs did, the one that Steve Jobs made, the cloud.
Yeah.
No, sorry, they avoided arbitration. Oh, they declined his option. They declined the 2024 club option.
Oh, wouldn't that have extended him several years?
Yeah, so something like that. They declined a $3 million option, which is all you need to know. Like the $3 million option would have done something to increase his control and whatever. But
okay, got it. So he had an agreed upon number. He had agreed to a multi-year arbitration extension. They declined that option, but because he has less years of service time, he is not a free agent. They can still tender him a contract or go to arbitration with him. And they instead declined the multi-year extension and then gave him a 1-year deal.
Got you.
So,
okay.
Really happy we figured out the whole Victor Robles situation.
Yeah.
That was
starting pitcher. Real quick, a name for me on the starting pitcher front.
Wait, have we signed an outfielder for them yet?
Bader. Did we not?
Oh, we can't give them Bader. We got to give them. Let me give you a better name, because I think Bader is just too good to be on the Nationals, with all due respect.
Profile.
Because I think he's going to sign with the Padres. That's my hot take. It's not really a hot take. It's just a take.
Rafael Ortega.
Aaron Hicks. Can Aaron Hicks be on the move? Right? A little pedigree there.
Yeah.
That's all I got. A little pedigree.
Is he a free agent? Aaron Hicks a free agent?
He is. He's gone from the Orioles.
Yeah, Aaron Hicks. I like it. Go ahead. Done deal. Congratulations.
Pretty good. Right? A little upside there. What if you rekindle something and then you could flip him at the deadline? It's a perfect flip piece. And then if he stinks, well, whatever.
No, he's Aaron Hicks.
All right,
starting pitcher. You guys have somebody in mind? Because I've got somebody in mind.
I have 2 in mind. You want me to give them to you?
Yeah.
Let me pitch you Sean Manaea, and let me pitch you Vince Velasquez. Those names making you feel anything?
Nothing.
You think people have skipped already to the Blue Jays part?
Yeah, I think so.
National fans, we're trying here. This is not bad. We got you CJ Cron. We got you Aaron Hicks.
Can I interest you in?
We know the core.
Naoyuki Uwasawa.
Sure.
So everyone wants to talk about Shota Imanaga. Everyone wants to talk about that Yamamoto guy, right? Naoyuki Uwasawa has put together some good numbers in Japan. Some good numbers. Fastball may only be 90 miles an hour.
Okay.
But it averages like 19 to 20 inches of IVB. It's 2,500 to 2,600 RPM. I don't think teams are going to be lining up for this guy because of the velo concerns, because of the focus on the big fish in the market. And look, we saw Fujinami sign with the A's. I think he's better than Fujinami, the polar opposite type of pitcher. This is where the Nationals could give a 2-year deal, let's say. If he's good, you keep him, into next year, and you hope to try to put something better forward next year. If he's kind of mediocre, or you just suck this year as a team, and he's pitching fine, flip him. You can go get some good pieces. The A's flipped Fuji. I think Uwasawa is an upside, like, let's see what happens kind of guy. Because, like, I know damn well what I'm getting from Vince Velasquez, and assuming the Nationals don't give him a hype video, it's just not going to be that exciting. I think Uwasawa, you have that mystery box appeal a little bit. So we could give him Naoyuki Uwasawa. Jeez. Naoyuki Uwasawa.
That was
You
a great
nailed
take.
that pitch. I'm in. He's a Nat. I love it. The other guy.
Before
Yeah.
we move on, Vince Velasquez had a 3.86 ERA. Now,
I know,
we're not
which
going
is
to talk
actually
about the
nuts.
expected numbers, but let's not pretend he's just chopped liver over here. Like,
Isn't he
is
TJ'd
going.
up?
Yeah, he might be.
I think he's TJ'd up. I don't think he's healthy.
Okay, but what
He
about
might miss
Spencer
the entire
Turnbull?
year.
What about
Also-
Spencer Turnbull?
Oh, he
No.
is healthy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince is going to miss the entire year. He had TJ on June 9th.
So give him the Tyler Mahle deal, but just scale it down. 2 years, $2 million.
Yeah. Sean
The
Manaea is
name
not
that I
chopped
actually
liver.
wanted to float, there's a guy that needs to rebuild his, I guess, reputation, rebuild his stock almost as badly as Bader, if not equally as badly as Bader. Frankie Montas. Couldn't a Frankie Montas make sense in Washington?
I think he would most likely go to a contender.
But how do we know that he can help a contender right now?
Yeah.
Let's say the Nats are willing to give him the Severino deal.
The
and
one
no one
plus
else
one.
is.
Or yeah, 1 for 13, sure.
Yeah, let's say they want to give you 1 for 13. Like, if I'm the Nats, like, I'd do that because, again, you need to put something out there. And if he's good, you can get a pretty nice haul. If he sucks, shit, you lost 13 million. Someone had to pitch those innings anyways. And at the end of the day, like, they are never going to have a payroll this low again. And Pat Corbin's coming off the books next year. So I don't hate that at all. The plan would also be to hope that you could flip Trevor Williams. So, I mean, that would be an aim high. I think that's their best case scenario, is getting a Frankie Montas. I think
Peter, what's your
Uwasawa is
thoughts?
their best bet.
I do think the Yankees are going to bring him back because I don't think they just want to let him go and like basically never get an inning and trade all those guys. I feel like they're going to give him a 1-year deal.
But would he say yes? Like, Yankee fans have just shit on him for being unavailable.
Yeah, but I don't think he cares. I mean, he might
How
care.
do
He
you
might just say,
know?
I'm
Like,
done.
Gallo
I don't know.
cared.
I don't know. I everything I read about Frankie Montas, because it is an interesting situation, because like this guy was a stud and then his shoulder blew up and then it's like, all right, now he's gone.
Yeah.
I do think the Yankees want to give him a try. That's all the rumors. Now, we're playing general manager. Other guys have rumors too. But what I will say is I think that's what the Yankees want to do. Whether they do it or not is another question, but that's all I've read.
Uwasawa, it's done. I
I'm in
already put the contract in. His agent's on it.
Okay, so in summary, how did we just fix the Washington Nationals?
So let's go through their lineup right now. So at shortstop, you got CJ Abrams. In right field, you got Lane Thomas. Catcher, Keibert Ruiz. First base, Joey Meneses. Left field, Stone Garrett went down at the end of the year. Is he their left fielder?
He's healthy.
Yeah, he should be good.
Okay. Second base, Luis Garcia. Third base, I guess Nick Senzel. DH, CJ Crone.
We signed
Center-
Crone.
We signed CJ Crone. Center field, Aaron Hicks.
Yeah.
Hicks as a time buyer for Dylan Cruz.
Exactly. And then you also have Victor Robles on your bench. And, you got then in the starting rotation, Josiah Gray, Mackenzie Gore, Jake Irvin, and then
Naoyuki Uwasawa
Naoki Iwasawa and Patrick
and Frankie
Corbin.
Montas.
Frankie Montas. That team, they won 71 games last year. That might be a 75-win team.
Could be. We're just trying to make him better, man.
Yeah.
And then they flip
just-
all these guys. And
It's one
like,
more
we got
year.
more
It's
prospects.
one more year of the flipping and this bullshit.
And then Woods there.
And then I think the big piece for them, either if they decide to extend him or not, is, flip Hunter Harvey potentially, flip Kyle Finnegan for sure, definitely flip Tanner Rainey.
Can I also say
everybody.
that there are starting pitchers coming? Like Jake Bennett probably debuts in 2024, and Bennett had a really good 2023
He had a really
season.
nice season. They've got some
Mitchell
and
Parker Mitchell
Yeah.
Parker fascinated me in AAA, and Parker will be knocking on the door. He'll make big league starts. Is he going to be really successful? I don't know. But they have guys coming, and you'll get a little bit of a taste this year in Washington. But like Aram said, it's one more year.
One more.
Before we move on to the Blue Jays, I want to revisit the Juan Soto deal because Juan Soto, of course, went to the Yankees, but originally Nationals to the Padres. And we got the prospect guys on here, so might as well talk about these prospects. So we remember the Padres got Juan Soto and Josh Bell. The Nationals got Luke Voit, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, Robert Hassel III, James Wood, and Harlan Susana. So we've seen what Abrams and Gore have done at the big league level. Aram, give me a letter grade on Robert Hassel.
Oh, that's such a loaded
Be
question.
nice.
A letter grade on Robert.
To this point.
That isn't mean.
I'll give you a letter grade on the entire package,
Okay.
which is, I mean, they have their everyday shortstop who I've wrote that piece breaking him down, and I've made my case for him as I think a guy that's really blossoming in this game, and I think Gore's going to be a solid lefty, at least a mid-rotation piece. Those are two really key pieces. It's hard to get that in any trade. Hassel's been extremely disappointing. Wood is still a top 15 prospect, and Susana is far off and sprays 100 everywhere. I'll give it a B. Yeah, gets a B.
Jack?
Yeah, B. I don't. Susana walked 40 guys in 63 innings. That's really hard to push.
Yeah, but so did Blake Snell, and look what he did.
I would say, like, okay, you get an everyday shortstop, you get what looks like, a star outfielder, and you get, a lefty that could be a 3, hell, could be a 2. I'm really high on Mackenzie Gore still. But I think those 3 pieces for, a really good player is an A- or an A. But those 3 pieces alone for Juan Soto, one of the best players in baseball, maybe the best hitter in baseball, it's a B plus.
What's the X factor here? Because he could be an MVP candidate, or he could be John Mayberry.
And if he is an MVP candidate, it's an A plus. Like, this works.
Yeah.
John Mayberry reference. It's December 15th. We are rolling.
Big tall guy that could not hit.
You can jump back up. Here's the deal. The CBT threshold, the competitive balance tax threshold this year, is going to be around $237 million. The Mets are already 13 million shy of that. They are the only, you know what? The Phillies are at 223. They don't have much breathing room either, but there are 2 other teams over 200, the Yankees and the Atlanta Braves. The Toronto Blue Jays have $142 million on the books right now. So they've got money to spend if they want to push closer towards that that luxury tax, that competitive balance tax. Here's the deal with the Blue Jays. They were good. They were really good last year, but they were not good enough. They couldn't get through the wild card series in Minnesota. Is their manager on the hot seat? I think many would say yes. I think this would be a good one to go position by position because we need to be really selective with where we improve and how drastically we improve this team. Starting at catcher, Alejandro Kirk and Danny Jansen. No notes. You're going to roll with that. You're regretting trading Gabby Moreno.
I would say they should call up Gabriel Moreno.
Yeah, they should. But now, like, their third option is Zach Britton.
We're already off to a rough start with Blue Jays fans. We're like,
you
first
made
position,
your bed. You got
your
lay
old
in
guy.
it. I think Blue Jays fans can acknowledge that they made that bet and they're sleeping in it. They have to. Like, what are you going to do?
But it is what it is.
Oh, no, I want Gabby back. Let me give you Kirk.
I'm just saying, we're starting off real. Hey, we're doing play general manager of the Blue Jays. Let me stab you right in the neck as soon as we start.
Sure. First base, Vladdy Jr. His backups are Spencer Horwitz and a guy that I love. I know Aram knows I love him, Damiano Palmegiani. I like that starter and 2 backups.
I got nothing.
Me neither.
Do you like?
He should be an MVP candidate next year. Vladdy needs to step it up. I hope he does. But regardless, you're rolling that guy out every single day. He's available.
Second base, Davis Schneider and Santiago Espinal.
I think you roll with that.
I think you roll with it.
King, good answer. I was like ready for war. If any of you guys spoke bad on the boy Davis Schneider, I know I didn't think you would, but I didn't know if you were ready to declare him an everyday second baseman.
I'm ready to declare 162 games with those two being good enough to be a starting second baseman. I'm totally fine with that.
I love it. I mean, Schneider was awesome. I know he finished the year on a bit of a cold streak and then it was like sporadic playing time. Guy's got juice. And I mean, I know he's just a really well-rounded player and he can also slide around, can play third if you need him, can play even the corner outfield if you need him. So I love that tandem. And Espinal, we know, is a phenomenal defender. So I think that's perfect.
And he can hit just enough. We have seen him hit.
Let me give you one option of a guy who could make sense there if that's not good enough. Just to throw some out there. We're talking ball. Jonathan Scope.
No, that's not an upgrade on either of those guys.
Fair.
I'd rather have both.
What about Elvis Andrews?
Nope.
No.
Rather have both.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like anyone's gonna be better than Davis.
Gene Segura, Donovan Solano.
No, and Solano is pretty much a first baseman at this point now.
Yeah, you're pretty much right. I just wanted to throw out some names for Blue Jays fans who are like, there's definitely some better options out there.
No.
Like, not really.
Nope.
You'd have to trade for one, and we should just stick with those two.
You got it good at second base.
Yeah, appreciate your mustached king.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Shortstop, Bo Bichette, Espinal is his backup. Yes, love it. A million times over.
I want to rank Bo Bichette when I do a top 100 players like real high. Like so high that people are like, what are you smoking? I am obsessed with him. Obsessed.
He's got to get into the GIF range, right? You did GIFs for the top 25 and then just listed 26 through 100.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's push Bichette to the GIF range.
He might be.
I got to find them a 1-year time buyer at third base because as of right now, they're going to roll out Kevin Biggio with Ernie Clement as the backup. I will say this, Aurelvis Martinez finished the year in AAA. He is not far off. You want to win a World Series. Is Aurelvis Martinez playing third base for you every day?
No.
I don't know. I've got options there. Do you want to hear those options?
Ugh, they're so bad. I mean,
yeah, I was sad. What are the options?
We have to formulate a trade here, or they bring back Chapman because the options arm that he's about to run through, and I know what they are so bad. I mean,
no, I'm not running through those.
Respect to baseball players, though. They're all...
I've got two guys you're trading for.
Okay, let's talk.
One of them is in LA right now. He's a sitting duck. He's going to be in year 2 of a 2-year deal. You can get Brandon Drury for about $9 million.
How is it? How much has he played third over the last couple of years?
Not much. He's played a lot of second, but he played third a lot in 2022. The other one is fascinating, and it is a change of scenery guy, and you may laugh at me. This team that's trading him is going to need to kick some money in to alleviate this massive, massive big thing. Who'd you say?
I just said, oh, no.
Could Yohan Moncada make any sense?
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
That's not the worst idea. It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I think if the White Sox, like, it is a buying prospect thing. Do they want to cover some of Moncada's salary because he's got a club option after this year, but he's owed $24 million. So the Blue Jays either take on the 24 for Moncada and they give them pennies because Moncada at that price point is worth what? The number 30 prospect in your organization, the number 35 prospect in your organization. Yeah. So what if the White Sox covered 15 and they knocked that number down to $9 million for Yohan Moncada? Do you think that's enough for a guy that's blocked in Addison Barger?
No.
You don't think that's enough?
Mm-mm.
You know who
they could get somebody though. They could get a warm body. I think it'd have to be legit. Like, I think to get Addison Barger, you got to cover like the whole cost. And even then, I don't know if I'm giving up Addison Barger. I'd rather just have Barger. Like, I'd rather see what him and Orelvis can do. I just don't have. I don't want to play the Moncada game if I'm the Blue Jays. Like, you've had enough unpredictability and turmoil and frustration, and that I like the idea in a vacuum. I'd rather roll Orelvis out there and Biggio and just see what happens. Because the interesting thing is this. Orelvis cannot hit righties very well because he kind of gets chewed up by some good sliders. That's been his problem, and I think that will continue to be his kind of like bugaboo there. But he murders lefties, like pillages them. Last season against left-handed pitching, 303, 363, 679 slash line at the upper levels of the minor leagues. That's double A, triple A. It's a 1,042 OPS for Orelvis. So, okay, I like Orelvis for the short side of the platoon. I like him to go get lefties. You gotta answer the long side of the platoon. Basically, find me somebody that's better than Kevin Biggio against righties. You can shelter now Kevin Biggio from the lefties. Is that platoon maybe just good enough?
You know what they could do? Get Evan Longoria. You can still hit lefties.
But Orelvis can hit lefties.
Oh, I thought you were looking for a guy who can hit lefties to platoon with Biggio.
No, so a guy that can hit righties.
Guy that can hit righties. Mike Moustakas?
No. I think I'm trading for Drury for a year
I like the Drury trade, but
at
the Angels,
$8.5 million.
the Angels said they want to go for it.
With who?
Yeah.
I
With
know.
Brandon Drury.
Look, I'm not saying they're not crazy. But Drury's one of their best hitters.
Yo, Gio Urshela.
I was looking at that.
Yeah.
But I almost would rather watch the Biggio, Schneider, even at times, Espinal, like roving. Barger could end up coming up and playing third, or Relvis could. Like, you have an open competition of like 3-4 guys.
Do we say cut the shit and just sign Matt Chapman?
Could cut
No.
the shit and sign Matt Chapman. Personally, I'd rather allocate those resources to corner outfield because third base is a tough position to find.
Me too.
So I think you piece it together with guys. Again, you have Schneider who could go over and play third if you want to put Espinal at second, or you could have Schneider at second, Espinal at third, probably makes more sense. So you could have Espinal playing third. You could have Barger if he breaks out playing third. You can have Biggio plugging in. You can have Orelvis plugging in. You got like 4 or 5 options there. Where you don't have options, I know Jack was taking us through the outfield, is in the corners. Dalton Varsho needs to play center fucking field, by the way. Like, enough of this. Like, he grades out as a better defender in center. And I don't know if people realize it, but it is a totally different read in the corners. True center fielders don't like playing in the corners. A lot of them don't because it's a different read and the ball, it's hard for them to get the same jumps. Go look at the advanced metrics, even from last year. Far better and outs above average in a lot of different cumulative statistics playing center field in smaller sample sizes than he was in the corner. And especially if Varsho's not going to hit as well as we were hoping and as well as they were hoping, you better get every drop of the value out in center field. Put that dude in center field. Okay, he's playing up the middle. Who's playing the corners now? You traded Gurriel. You obviously don't have some of the other pieces you had in the past, like Teoscar. You're probably not going to sign Teoscar and bring him back. That's too weird. So
You could also sign Gurriel and bring him back.
which is insane. So I assume that they can't go sign either of those guys. Maybe they could. I don't know. I think there's a lot of cornerbacks you could go get, though. That's a lot easier than answering third base. And I know Peter's got something in his mind.
Galaxy brain. You ready? So, Alex Bregman, potentially, has been floated as a guy who could potentially be dealt, right? I don't know if the Astros want to pay him. If I'm the Blue Jays, I'm at least calling the Astros to see if they could trade for Alex Bregman at third base. Now in the outfield, we just saw an in-division trade between the Yankees and the Red Sox for a corner outfielder and Alex Verdugo. How about a Blue Jays Orioles trade for Anthony Santander in the corner? 2 things just to let you play with. Which one do you like? Which one do you don't? Are they both crazy? Are they both attainable? Just to put something in the back of your head. Because Anthony Santander is a free agent after the year, and we know the Orioles, with all their enormous prospects in the outfield, in the infield, if they're going to spend money, it's going to be on starting pitching. They probably don't bring him back anyway. That's a corner outfielder who's very good. Like that guy would instantly make the Blue Jays a lot better. And the Blue Jays have the prospect capital to do it. And it's not like these in-division trades are that crazy, but the more galaxy brain thing, would the Astros actually trade Bregman? I would give it about a 95.5 no, but I still think there's a 5% chance. So what would it take for those two to be Blue Jays?
I will say, I don't think Toronto has the trade capital to go and acquire Alex Bregman. I think the asking price for Bregman is going to be really high.
I don't
Higher
know. He
than
is a
many
free
people
agent
expect.
after this season.
Yeah,
Not
but
gonna
1
be
year
that
of
high.
Bregman, a guy
What?
with that high a floor,
They can do it. You tell me they can't do it for 1 year of Bregman? I feel like
They
they
could
can.
do
They
it,
might not give
but,
up
like-
Tiedemann, obviously, but like they have enough. Right arm?
I don't know.
You're not trading Tiedemann? You got to
If you're
trade
not trading Tiedemann, it's Orelvis and
Okay. They can do that. Orelvis.
Ferreira and
Okay. I'm sure Blue Jays
Barger.
fans would say, get out of here. Sure, we'll do that for Alex Bregman for a year.
But then you have no
Orelvis,
farm.
Barger. They might not even like those guys too. Like Orelvis is a very polarizing prospect. Barger
And
is a
Barger, I know,
polarizing
had an
prospect
underwhelming year.
and was hurt. Barrera was hurt all year. Tiedemann, you don't even want to trade him, and he's been hurt. It'd be hard. It'd be hard. I was thinking, I mean, that's the dream scenario, though, Peter. Like, if you could pull that off, by all means, like, pull that shit off.
Yeah.
Okay, they could go a couple of different ways. I think you have to decide how you're going to approach the DH role, because how you approach the DH role is also, I think, going to affect how you approach the corner outfield role.
Facts.
If you go sign a JD Martinez, who they've reportedly had interest in, makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, then you got to go get now a corner outfielder that actually plays defense. So if you get JD Martinez, then I could see a trade for like a Dylan Carlson or a Max Kepler. But if you don't get a JD Martinez, what about like an Eloy Jimenez, who
Jack's
I
like,
think
please,
that's in their wheelhouse? That's where a Barger could get it done. You know, Barger and Pieces could get it done. And Eloy, you know, if it works out, he's obviously a monster for you. I like Carlson a lot as a fit in left. You know, the outfield defense that he would bring, good, bad, at least from one side of the plate. But I think, you know, at least you got a bat from both sides. And Kepler, the same thing, defense and a little bit of pop that you're going to get there. I think those three names make a lot of sense. I would love to see a signing of JD and a trade for Dylan Carlson.
Let's talk Carlson because we're about to get to the St. Louis Cardinals too. So it's like we can kind of do a dual one here.
Sure,
Jack,
but can I throw the idea out there of attaching Moncada to Eloy Jimenez? Because then you have that time buyer.
What if you just send them everyone but Luis Robert and say, give us Ricky Tiedemann?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I mean, if you do they want Moncada? Does anybody want Yoan Moncada?
It would help them. And I wouldn't blame them if they don't want them. But all I'm saying is it's a 1-year buy-in because you've got that club option that you'll decline in a heartbeat.
Put them over the luxury tax.
They're $100 million shy of the luxury.
Are they 100
tax.
mil shy?
Yeah, they have a lot of money to work with. That's why they were in with Ohtani.
So it could minimize the prospect capital, get Eloy and Moncada. You just toss a Madison Barger and eat less money.
A filler.
Let's do that.
I like that.
Do that.
I'm down for that.
I like that too. Starting rotation, no notes, right?
I would like them to get one because you're relying on Manoah as the 5, or you can go to Mitch
Tiedemann
White
eventually.
But I would like them to get at least a 1-year deal kind of guy. It doesn't have to be the shiniest toy in the shed, but there are so many starting pitchers who, you know, are currently available. Like Mike Clevenger could easily just be the fifth guy for the Toronto Blue Jays. They could experiment with Lucas Giolito.
I mean, I don't hate Giolito as
a multi-year deal.
I don't hate Giolito as a 1-year 5. Like, someone's gonna offer him 2-3 years.
Yeah, he'll be an
Tyler
expensive
Mahle just got
5.
2 years.
How about?
But I do like a 5 guy, like someone like that. Manaya or
Rich Hill still wants to pitch.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of men's leagues out there for him.
Do you try Carlos Carrasco?
It's not a bad. I actually like the Carrasco move there.
Right?
It's a good upside move.
It's your
because if it doesn't work, you can still throw him in the bullpen.
Yeah. Is Flaherty going to get a multi-year deal?
Probably.
You can give Flaherty a 2-year deal though, and whatever.
Are we bringing James Paxton home?
Ooh. We might bring James Paxton home the Big Maple.
Ooh.
Big Maple.
Oh, done. Paxton, do it.
That makes so much sense, and it's also good for the graphic. Like when we post.
Yeah, we can get Brandon working on that now. Get him digging into that maple graphic. He's our king. Puts together some fire graphics. That would be a good one.
So what we've done so far, we're signing James Paxton to be the 5th guy. Whoa,
dude, what just happened to you on YouTube?
That was sick. Wait,
you got the update. That's what you got, the Apple software update. Your thumbs up creates that thought cloud with a thumbs up emoji in there.
Whoa, that's
awesome. Arm doesn't have it. So how about this one? Do the heart on your screen, Peter. Look at that.
Whoa.
You've
Look at
got hearts
that.
popping.
Look at
The
us.
audio people hate us right now.
Yeah,
Walk
what are you
through what
talking
we
about?
just did.
All right. James Paxton is the 5th guy. We've traded for Eloy Jimenez and Yohan Moncada. So right now the lineup looks like for the Toronto Blue Jays in 2024, George Springer in right, Bichette at short, Vladdy at first, Eloy at DH, Yohan Moncada, Kevin Biggio, however you want to do that at third. Second base, Davis Schneider, Santiago Espinal. Bunch of guys can work all around there. In center field, you have Dalton Varsho. At catcher, you have Alejandro Kirk. And who is playing in the corner outfield?
Can they trade for Carlson too?
Yeah,
So
because
that's
you're
a lot
only
of
really giving up
moves.
Barger and a filler.
I want them to trade for Anthony Santander. I feel like that's such a good fit for them.
In division trade's gonna be tough, man.
It's been happening before. That's why I brought it up, though. It's not impossible.
Yeah, but they trade bums. They don't trade like studs.
How about this? Easy one. Hunter Renfroe.
You could sign him to a 1-year deal.
Easy one. He's going to hit you home runs. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that was
is that
based
much
on
worse
waivers.
than is he that much worse than Teo?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah.
you could send Manoa and a prospect and get Dylan Carlson.
Manoa still has injury.
Yeah,
course he
get
does.
in, and they need pitchers. They need starters. Get them the hell out of town. Go get. Let's get Manoa. They need to open a 26-man spot too, and a 40 spot. Send Manoa out. Let's get Carlson into town.
I think that's great.
I love it too.
Let's go.
But the thing is, would you rather have Carlson or Anthony Santander?
I'd rather have Santander, but I just think it's incredibly unrealistic.
That's fine.
And for the price and the years of control and the value, like Carlson.
The only way the O's are going to do it is if you pay a pretty penny.
Sure,
And like,
yeah.
No,
No,
that's
you need to.
and that segues right into the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's start playing jam with them.
So we can go position by position here in a moment. But first, let's go through the team payroll. Again, the luxury tax, the competitive balance tax is at approximately $237 million coming into this year. The Cardinals are at 157.4 as it stands right now. So they've got about $80 million to work with. They've already had a pretty active offseason by signing 3 starting pitchers. In Sonny Gray to 3 years, 75. Kyle Gibson got 1 year for 11. Lance Lynn got 1 year for 10. Do you think Kyle Gibson is going to hold that over Lance Lynn in the clubhouse? Like, hey, my 1-year deal was $1 million more than yours. They value me higher than they value you. But did you guys like the position by position thing? We can do that again if you want.
Absolutely. I love it.
Okay. Catcher. Maybe, like, obviously Wilson Contreras is not the best catcher in baseball, but with Wilson Contreras and Ivan Herrera ready to back him up, that tandem is as good as any tandem in baseball.
Totally fine. Let's move.
First base, Paul Goldschmidt, and then the 30-homer guy in 80 games in the minor leagues last year, Lucan Baker.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, freak.
Yeah.
Alec Burleson is also a backup first baseman. Second base, Nolan Gorman / Brendan Donovan / Tommy Edman. They're fine.
So fine.
Shortstop, Mason Wynn / Tommy Edman. You're cool with it, right?
Way
oh
cool.
yeah.
Have to be cool with it. Third base, Nolan Arenado / Brendan Donovan. Cool with it. I don't know how this team finished last in the NL Central.
This team is fucking good.
They're good, bro. They're good. The outfield is where it gets interesting. Lars Nootbaar and Jordan Walker are sure things.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to figure out who the third outfielder is going to be. Do you hold on to Carlson? We just traded Dylan Carlson. So then you've got Edmund factored in. You'd probably slap Donovan in the corner. Richie Palacios is also a bench bat. Victor Scott looks close. Victor Scott can be up there and be a fill-in / fourth outfield type. But how are we going to go about this outfield to make them World Series contenders?
Well, the outfield as of right now, Tommy Edman in center, Jordan Walker in right, and Lars Nootbaar in left. Pretty good. But I think you want Tommy Edman in the infield because he's so all-world there.
He's pretty elite in center too, though.
Yeah, he is pretty elite in center. But I guess I'm just hanging on to the fact that I feel like he is seriously one of the best defensive shortstops in the league and second base. He's just so elite defensively.
So if you're factoring in Edman in center, that pushes Carlson to the bench, and your DH right now with Gorman playing second base would be Brendan Donovan.
I think you just put maybe Gorman at DH, Edman.
I think you sign a DH.
Are we going to sign more hitters to this team? They have 70 of them.
Why not? Why not Gorman at DH and Donovan playing second?
And then Edman
that works. Center. Is Gorman going to face left-handed pitching?
I think Carlson could take some of those at bats.
We just traded Dylan Carlson for Alek Manoah.
Yeah, but this is a separate scenario here.
No, we're this is all in the just baseball world.
No,
we have already
cool
traded.
It separate because I just traded Dylan Carlson here on one note. So
we got to trade him. We traded him, Aram.
Okay.
We traded Dylan Carlson. They have Alek Manoah now.
I think it's. I think we do have to talk about that. So you've got Gorman DHing against right-handed pitching, and then against left-handed pitching. How do you want to go about it?
Like, presumably if I'm the Cardinals and I haven't made that trade yet, I'm looking at it as, Carlson takes those at bats. If I'm not mistaken, Carlson's far better from the right side than the left side, and that's been far more productive that way.
And you could have Carlson hop in the outfield, and you could have Jordan Walker DH.
Correct.
Left-handed pitchers.
So then your defense is still rock solid. That's why, like when in our fairy tale land where the Cardinals and the Blue Jays are going back and forth, that's why they're gonna have the leverage here and say, no, this ain't our fourth outfielder. He's our platoon guy and, playing a little fourth outfield. So I think if it can get you a starting pitcher like a Manoah who gives them a lot more upside than, some other pieces, then we could end up moving him in that parallel world. But just to cover all angles, he is a better hitter from the right side. 761 OPS from the right side last year, 618 OPS from the left side last year. So, you let him take that side of the platoon. That could help. By the way, also, year before that, 2022, from the right side, 866 OPS. From the left side, 659. Maybe you should scrap it. Maybe you should just hit from the right side. I know it's way harder when you got right on right sliders, but that's a pretty big discrepancy for to be worse at the side that you're going to hit more often from. That's a separate conversation. I think that could be, the way they go about it if we're not doing the parallel universe. If he's traded in this playing GM episode, then he's also not on the team for this playing GM episode.
Yeah. It's tough to do that. A player that does make sense kind of both for the Blue Jays and the Cardinals. What about Justin Turner? If we're talking about platoons, we're talking about third baseman. He's definitely of interest for both of them.
He's probably got an everyday role out there for him, right?
He might, but then it might be one with a non-contender. I don't know if it's an everyday role with a contender.
He's pretty nasty last year.
I know.
He was damn solid last year.
He might just be the starting third baseman for the Blue Jays in 2024. That might just
be.
That's also not a bad. Yeah, that's it. But going back to the Jays, that's a pretty fire option.
Exactly.
He defended well last year.
Adam Duvall has an everyday role out there for himself, right?
Probably. I'm trying to think.
How about Renfroe?
Yeah, Renfroe could be that guy.
Again, well, no, he's a Blue Jay, right? Yeah. No, but we did that again. Remember so to answer the segmentation of things, how we kind of approached it holistically, we had several guys that we gave to every team last year. So I guess that is the answer to approaching them each individually. So in this world, we are holding on to Carlson, but I think it's very realistic that in a world where, we're not running the Cardinals, that there's a chance that Carlson would get moved. And there actually already has been rumors and conversations about Carlson to the Jays. But in this instance, I would keep Carlson if I was on the Cardinals side of things. If I'm the Blue Jays, I'm trying to pry him away. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm trying to keep him, probably just because I don't know if there's somebody that fits that exact role as well as Carlson does, especially if Tommy Edman goes down. You need another guy that can plug into center. He's the guy that can really plug into center. Sure, Newt could play some center as well, so that does help. But I think they need someone that can kind of spell the left-handed side of things, especially because it can get a little lefty heavy. I think Carlson just takes over that side of the platoon. I don't think they need to really add anything on the position player side. I don't really see how they could get that much better. If they're going to spend money, I'd keep going on the pitching.
Yeah, obviously the pitching was like the main thing, but I love that we're talking about a last place team still being in the World Series conversation if they do nothing offensively. Like
Mhm.
it's such a unique situation with the 2023 St. Louis Cardinals. You got to understand that. I think John Mozeliak does understand that, and he was very active right away. Peter, I know that you've got some thoughts on who they've already signed in Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson and in Sonny Gray. As of right now, that rotation stacks up as Gray, Miles Michaelis, Gibson, Lynn, Steven Matz. And then you've got Matthew Liberator, Gordon Graceffo, Michael McGreevy kind of waiting as like the 6, 7, 8 guys. The bullpen, real quick, is Helsley, Gallegos, Jojo Romero, Andre Palante, Zach Thompson. I don't think you have to do much there. You can sign a reliever if you want. I think Hicks reunion makes some sense. Like, go get another setup guy. But the rotation is, I think, where they need a frontline guy. And I think they could do that via trade, or they just pony up and pay Blake Snell.
Could do that. They certainly do need a lefty, don't they? So I think we could talk trading for Glass now. We could talk signing Marcus Stroman, or we could talk signing Blake Snell. I think I'd rather sign Blake Snell among everything because they have the money. And they
Mhm.
do. And the reason that I did like it is now they have a lot of guys who are going to eat innings, right? Sonny Gray, Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. These are guys you can kind of pencil in. Of course, injuries could happen, but for 150 plus innings, like that's what these guys do. So if you gamble with a Blake Snell and he is 80% of what he was last year, and I think he could be better, especially with that defense behind him, right? Those walks are turning into a lot of double plays with how good that defense is. I think Blake Snell is the answer here.
Are there
I
guy like is there another guy besides Glass now that you would entertain trading for? Like, do you entertain trading for a Cease? Because on the trade market, I think if you go and get
I
a
just
frontline guy, you're going to need to include Carlson, which throws a wrench in our plan. So I do like the free agent signing best. I do think Snell is the best option, but Aram, do you limit the trade reach out to just Glass now?
Yeah, I don't see them trading for anybody that's going to cost them more than Glass now. I don't see it. I could see Glass now could make sense just because the Rays I do think line up with them decently well, but I just think in that instance the Dodgers are just going to be able to offer something more catered towards them. And again, if those rumored deals are happen to be true, which we've seen that corroborated by several respectable reporters, I don't see a world where the Cardinals are going to be able to offer more than what Ryan Pepiot can immediately give the Rays. So I love the Snell idea because everything, and we don't know, you can only relate to what you've read, but everything I've read is that the market may not be materializing long term wise the way that maybe Blake Snell's camp hoped, which makes sense given that fact that like three of us wouldn't give him 5, 6 years. So maybe it's a 3 year high AAV deal. I'm fine with that if I'm the Cardinals. And I mean, how far did you say they were below the tax threshold?
80
That's
million.
70.
Yeah, go high AAV, short term deal, and go get Blake Snell. You really you don't have any long term commitments to the starting rotation, anything crazy long, and two of the guys are on 1 year deals. Lock somebody up for a few years. You don't really have anybody coming up that's an impact starter. Tink Hence, you're hoping, but he still seems like he's a little ways away. I think you go and pony up for Blake Snell, and I do think they need one more relief pitcher. I do, and I think you can spend there too. I think you can go get David Robertson. I think you can go get a Hector Neris. I'm not getting Josh
Harris.
Hader. It's a little expensive. So I think you go. I think you go Neris and Snell. We're not doing one thing on the offensive side. Fucking pony up and let's go get some two impact pitchers. Go get Neris and go get Snell and let's win a World Series.
I'm rooting for the Cardinals this year. I just have to.
The team is
This
good.
team's fun, man.
I have a off the cuff idea, and I want to preface it with Blake Snell and Hector Neris getting those two is better than what I am about to present. But sometimes I like to think, and sometimes I like to float ideas.
Yeah.
What if St. Louis Cardinals traded some prospects or maybe a big league ready bat for Robbie Ray, Mariners? Mariners want to trade some arms, right? In order to get some bats. Robbie Ray is a little bit expensive coming off an injury. Wouldn't be that expensive for the St. Louis Cardinals. And what is Robbie Ray known for? Eating tons of innings. And with an offense this good, with defense this good, and if we load up on the bullpen, it's less expensive than getting a Blake Snell. You still have the upside of Robbie Ray, who did win a Cy Young award. Now, is he going to be that type of pitcher? Obviously not. But is he still a viable option there? Wouldn't be that expensive of a trade. You'd take some money. You don't have to give up much.
It's actually not the worst idea I've
Thick
ever heard.
thighs.
The only thing I'll throw in here is he had Tommy John in May. So that
So
would
we're
put
looking
him
at
back in
probably
the
June.
All-Star break.
That is a problem.
That's a problem. But you have him for another year.
That is worth noting, like, for our Mariners.
He's got him for 4 more years.
Well, he's got a player opt
Yeah,
out.
he's got a player opt out.
Is that
Oh,
cat opting out?
Yeah, I was like, he ain't opting out right now. No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, so you're kind of stuck to him.
Just floating some ideas.
The last time people remember Robbie Ray on a hill, he threw a cement mixer slider that Yordan took 680 feet.
Don't hold that against him. He has a better career than just that. Robbie
I'm
Ray is a
holding
good
against him, but,
pitcher.
like,
when
You know
on
how
the
Jack. You know how you.
Yeah, we
You
also
got to be
know how
careful when you
super
bring
he
up Robbie Ray in front of Jack.
It's the Snell thing, man. Like 5 walks per night. Like that's just what he did.
How you win Cy Youngs, bitch?
Yeah, it's called having strikeout stuff and big old thighs. Like Robbie Ray put up a 3.71 ERA in 2022, 2.84 in 2021. Like that is a guy who the Mariners might want to part with, and it wouldn't be that expensive. And if he comes over, they eat some money.
It's not the worst.
Do
It's
they
not
move
the
Bryce
worst.
Miller or Brian Wu?
Sorry?
Aram, do they move Bryce Miller or Bryce Miller or Brian Wu?
They shouldn't.
I think they shouldn't, but I could see them moving one of them because they're just the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same. They're the Spider-Man meme.
But it's also a good thing.
Good thing and bad thing. You got to live and die by the high carry fastball, and that's like 60% usage of that pitch, heavy reliance type. I do think they move one. I do. And Wu kind of had some arm flare-ups. Both of them, I don't know if they're built to eat 170 innings. I do think one of those guys gets moved. Regardless, it seems like the best move and the most Cardinals move here is going to be high AAV short term for Blake Snell. Go get Hector Neris. And let's go win a chip. Like, let's stop underachieving. My big playing GM move personally would be firing Ollie Marmol. But that's my key move. But personally, and not relinquishing my $85 million catcher of his catching duties and then giving it back. So, like, that would be my playing GM move.
He needed that week, though. It was like a silent retreat. It was that cave that Rogers went into in Wyoming that cost like $1,000 a night. That's what happened to Wilson Contreras for that little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just relaxing, unplugging.
I have another idea.
Oh, no.
And this one's even crazier. Are the Braves going to extend Max Fried?
Oh,
No.
geez.
Nope. And with that,
No,
Thank you, everyone.
let's
do the merch.
everyone calm down for a second.
No, listen.
There's a
I shut
0%
down
chance.
the Ellie De La Cruz thing like this, and I'm going to shut down the Freed thing like this.
Yeah, did you know, Arm, that Jack and I were talking about the Reds, and I forget how it came up. And I was like, what? So we shouldn't listen on Ellie De La Cruz deals? Imagine the package.
You know how I found that you said that was
What?
I went on our YouTube channel and I saw a comment, like I got a notification comment. I've been listening to the show forever. This has got to be the dumbest thing Peter's ever said. And I was like, okay, I got to find exactly what he said.
I've said way dumber, I feel like. Was that the dumbest?
Oh, for sure. We've all said
That
dumber
was
than
pretty
that.
dumb.
Yeah,
It was
Pretty dumb. And
what?
hey,
we're just floating. All we're doing is floating. Nobody's making any deals here. We're just talking baseball players.
Don't
And
you
Max
dare
Fried
even
go to the
talk.
Cardinals. Yeah, don't
You
you
don't.
dare even mention it.
You don't talk about trading Ellie De La Cruz. You just don't do it.
don't do that.
Everyone's taking things so seriously. I'm just
You
saying
don't.
Max Fried should be a Cardinal, and I don't know how we're
Don't
going to
do
get him to St.
Don't
Louis.
do it. Nope.
I'd rather see him in St. Louis, but that'd be the Braves saying, hey, like, we want to win a World Series, but here you go.
I'm
Like,
just
take this
saying,
guy and get in our way for us.
The reason I bring it up is I just don't know why they haven't extended him yet.
It is
what the
bizarre.
Braves do, they sign these guys immediately. So, like, what is their plan with him? That's why I was just thinking outside the box of lefties who could possibly fit bats going either way. It's obviously not going to happen. The only reason I bring it up is why haven't they extended him yet? I just don't get it.
Yeah, we asked the same thing about Dansby. We asked the same thing about Freddie Freeman.
And look where they're at. Maybe Max Fried is a Cardinal. So let's recap the Cardinals right now. So they've got so many hitters in so many different places. It's hard for me to do it. But we didn't touch the offense, right?
No.
We didn't touch it. We're signing Blake Snell to a high AAV deal. We're not going to trade for Tyler Glasnow. I like the lefty. They got a lot of righties in here. Of course, you have Steven Matz, but we'll see what he can give you. I really want to get a lefty.
He does throw with his left hand.
He does, but Blake Snell is the best option here. And then you have Helsley, you have Gallegos, Jojo Romero, Andre Palante, and then we're signing Hector Neris. Should we get them another reliever just for fun? Should we?
I think that's enough because they traded for Robertson and they traded for one other cat that I forget that they just put in the bullpen. So I think they're good.
Should we just give them Trevor Gott?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, if you really want to give him Gott.
Do you feel strongly about it?
Maybe we'll give them Josh DeMont. What about Robert Stevenson? Every team wants him now because the Rays just labbed him.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do, Sweet Pea. Merch?
All right, fine. Max Fried to the Cardinals. Go get yourself some Just Baseball merch. It's in the episode description. I'm rocking the hat. Arm's rocking the hat. Jack is rocking nothing because he hates the company. Don't be like Jack. Get yourself some Just Baseball merch. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as fast as you can. Because guess what? It's free. And all of our content is on here. And it helps support us while also supporting by leaving a 5-star review, whether it be on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. And a written review is always really nice to see. Thank you guys for doing that. That's Jack. That's Arm. I'm Peter. We will be back next week on Monday. And with that, thank you, everybody.